I'm Matt Bouchard here in New York City for NAREIT's REIT Week 2018 Investor Conference. Joining me today is Owen Thomas, CEO of Boston Properties. Owen, thanks so much for joining us.
Matt, always a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Now, can you start by talking about the recent Santa Monica Business Park acquisition? What attracted you to that property, and how does it complement the existing portfolio of Boston Properties?
Santa Monica Business Park is a 1.2 million square foot facility, so it's very significant. So that was important, scale. Second, it is home to large corporations, and that fits very well in our overall business strategy. As you know, many buildings in West LA are occupied by smaller tenants, which is fine. However, our strategy is to deal more with larger corporations, and the Santa Monica Business Park is headquarters to Snap, and also Activision is based there, and a number of other large corporates, so that was a good fit as well. So it was strategic, and then of course we liked the economics under which we purchased the property. Though we didn't underwrite this, the project is adjacent to the Santa Monica Airport, which is going to be decommissioned in 10 years. And by the way, we have the Santa Monica Business Park is on a 47-acre site, so it's the coverage density is quite low. So there might be, we don't know this, but there might be some opportunities for redevelopment in the future. And then as a result of that, with our ownership of Santa Monica Business Park and of Colorado Center, we now own about a quarter of the office space in Santa Monica, California. So we have certainly a critical mass in that market.
Now, shifting over to the development side, that obviously remains a core element of creating shareholder value for Boston Properties. And obviously you have a number of projects in the works, but could you specifically talk about Reston Gateway, which is just in the first phase of a multi-phase development?
Yeah. Our single largest investment in Washington, D.C. is actually at Reston Town Center, where we own basically a small city, that's comprised of office buildings, residential complexes, and also the associated street retail and parking. And between the Reston Town Center and a new metro stop is a new project that we call Reston Gateway. And we have, part of the project has a couple of smaller buildings on it, and part of this site is free land. But anyway, the Silver Line Metro is being developed, and so we're going to have a metro stop that opens in 2020 at the south end of Reston Gateway, and this metro will connect Reston to both Washington, D.C. and to Dulles Airport. So there's this major site between the metro and Reston Town Center, and we're still finishing the entitlements, but we think it will end up being entitled for certainly in excess of 3 million square feet of office, residential, hotel, retail, and the associated parking. And we were very honored and fortunate to have won a major requirement from Fannie Mae in the last 60 days. They are going to be leasing 850,000 square feet, which is certainly one of the largest non-government leases ever done in the state of Virginia. And they will be the anchor tenant in a new two-tower, 1.1 million square foot office complex that we're putting up basically adjacent to this Silver Line metro station. And then associated with that will be, over time, a hotel development, the street retail, and also a significant apartment building. And then that's just the first phase of Reston Gateway, and then there'll be an additional phase down the road to bring us up over around 3 million feet. So, Reston's already a small city in Northern Virginia, and it's getting larger quickly.
Now, I'd like to close by talking a little bit about sustainability. Boston Properties achieved its energy, water, and emissions reduction goals 3 years early, and you set about more aggressive target goals for 2025. Can you talk a little bit about why holding the company to these high ESG standards is so important, and how it makes Boston Properties a better company?
A few years ago, we did, as part of our sustainability efforts, we agreed to publish stated public goals, and not, increasingly companies are doing this, but we got an early start on it. And these goals are around the four major things: the energy intensity of the portfolio, the emissions, carbon emissions intensity of the portfolio, water conservation, and waste diversion. And they're more or less set up in line with the Paris Climate Accords, I would say more or less. And as you pointed out, for the first 3 of those, with everything except waste diversion, we already met the goal. So we decided rather than not doing anything additional, that we should establish new goals for all those, for those top 3 areas, which we did, new, more aggressive goals. And so we find on sustainability, I mean, clearly for lots of reasons we think it's the right thing to do, but it's also economically viable. I mean, we've spent, we're a 50 million square foot company. We've spent probably 15 cents a square foot over the last 4 years per year on energy related projects. I think the number of projects is something like 150. And they make money. This isn't, again, all just about, an altruistic goal. I mean, these are also economic goals. And so we, through these energy projects, we're saving money for our customers, who use the energy, and also for ourselves. And I think we've found that sustainability is increasingly important to many of the constituencies that we find important. So, I'd start with our tenants. Clearly if we can save them money, that's important. We have built brand new buildings that are sustainability leaders in their cities. The Salesforce Tower is a great example of that, 888 Boylston. I think the tenants that occupy those buildings appreciate and value those sustainability characteristics, and it was part of their procurement decision. Clearly the communities that we serve care. I mean, we're in coastal markets, more or less, and climate change has big impacts on a number of these cities, and they care a lot about the sustainability characteristics, and a big part of what we do at Boston Properties is we serve these communities. I've also increasingly found our shareholders care about this, and I think there's a growing segment of the shareholder base that actually is looking at sustainability performance of potential companies to invest in, and using that as a criteria. And then lastly, our team. Our people care about it, and I think focusing on sustainability makes us a more purposeful company, and therefore a better company.
Owen, thank you so much for joining us.
Matt, my pleasure. Thank you very much.
For more from NAREIT's REIT Week, be sure to visit NAREIT's website, REIT.com.